Get your political thinking caps on. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardon Ellis, and today we got a lot on the agenda. So like I said, put your political thinking caps on. Get ready to get informed and get involved in not just national but local politics here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Today we got a pretty cool schedule lined up. We got some really good guests. I am live right now with Bob Keller. We also got Cameron Smythe coming on the show a little bit later, and we've got Andrew Taban, and we're all going to be talking about a pretty controversial subject here. I'm taking over the time slot that was previously held by the Honorable Dave Goss. Many of you guys that used to listen to Connecting Right and enjoyed his show, I have a feeling are going to equally enjoy ours, because we try and get to the bottom of local issues that are plaguing both our nation and our local municipality, our lovely, awesome town here in Santa Clarita. If you can, watch on Facebook Live, but I gotta warn you, Bob, that the first time I was on here a couple of weeks ago with Dave Goss, I didn't realize that during commercials,
yes,
that the Facebook stream is still going. And I have yet to meet this man, but I think his name was Matthew Funicello or something. He's one of Dave's friends that does the conservative action group around here. And he literally typed into the Facebook feed, "Stop picking your nose." Then my friend played it back for me. And dude, the guy had unfortunately caught me in the act.
I got that. Based on that, I'm going to stay on my guard the entire time.
Yeah, you got to stay on your guard here. So we're totally highbrow here at Problem Solver Politics. But anyway, the show is going to be a good one. We're going to have we have one mission statement, and we hope it is expressed in the name of the show, Problem Solver Politics. This is not going to be an ideology fest. This is not going to be a rant room, though there will be many times that you probably do hear solid rants. The purpose of this show is to get to the bottom of issues, find constitutional solutions to them, and really achieve, I believe, the problem-solving mechanism that I think most Americans have. So we got a big problem here in Santa Clarita that's coming up and is going to be a very hot debate in city council chambers here on Tuesday. I was hoping to have a very generic show for my very first one to just ease into the program a little bit. I don't know, something easy like education.
Did I hear that right? This is your first show?
Not my first show in radio, my first show of Problem Solver Politics.
Okay.
Yeah. I was hoping to do something a little bit less confrontational, but now, nope, SB 54 is on the docket for discussion in city council here on Tuesday. So what better person, or what better persons, to invite on the show to talk about this than Bob Keller and Cameron Smythe, members of our city council. I have been told, Bob, that by multiple people, and the reason why I invited you on the show today was because several people have told me you've not gotten the correct form in which to properly speak your mind on this issue, and there's a lot of disinformation, a lot of trolling going on both sides about what SB 54 means. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and feel free just to give your thoughts. But to start out, what is, for the layman out there, SB 54?
SB 54, which is called the California Values Act, which I be open with you, I find that title somewhat disingenuous, might be a fair statement. But having said that, it basically hamstrings California law enforcement from cooperating with the federal government in dealing with issues having to do with criminals and criminals that are here illegally. And to me, it's a very serious matter, and obviously, from my perspective, anybody that's followed my position on this thing, it is also something that I find absolutely unconscionable, that law enforcement does not work in the maximum form possible to protect our citizens and the safety of Americans.
Okay, so for those of you that have not read this thing, it's a 7-page behemoth, but everything you need to know is pretty much in the first 3 paragraphs.
True.
And actually, it looks like you have a copy here. Can I steal that really fast? I noticed can I just see this really quickly? I noticed, and what kind of concerned me was that it says specifically, this repeals, and I'm quoting this from SB 54, repeals an existing state law that requires law enforcement agencies to notify federal immigration authorities of a drug-related arrest involving a suspected non-United States citizen. It also says it prohibits law enforcement agencies from using department funds or personnel to share information with immigration authorities, or basically anything else about release dates or anybody detained, stuff like that. This is my problem with this that kind of concerns me. I worry, okay? I worry that this is almost preferential treatment towards non-citizens. I want to cure this immigration problem. I don't think anybody else in America, I think everybody's a bleeding heart liberal in America to a certain extent. Okay, so none of us want to see families taken apart. None of us want to see a good person due to simply something as simple as an immigration status treated as lesser. But I think there were a lot of people who were very frustrated with DACA, for example, that a DACA child could go anywhere in the United States and get in-state tuition, while the citizens who raised their children well and paid taxes their entire life, if they wanted to go to University of Nevada at Reno, they had to pay out-of-state tuition, which is a lot more expensive. So there was a preferential treatment towards the DACA non-citizen than there was towards the California resident citizen. It seems to me, from my reading of this SB 54, I read the whole thing from top to bottom once, it seems to me that there is a preference towards non-citizens that are detained. Is this...
Well, there's no question. SB 54 is about dealing with illegals and how they stack up in our country from having been involved with criminal activity.
Okay,
and I mean, that's just simplifying what it's all about.
Okay, so dig in. Tell me what it is that's bothering you about this and what needs to be said about SB 54.
Well, I think it's only appropriate for me to make a couple of comments. One is I'm a retired Los Angeles police officer of 25 years.
Great.
I'm a law and order guy.
Perfect.
Okay, I don't sit here and look at this stuff, oh, well, we got to think this, we got to think that. No. We don't have to think nothing. You go out here, you come into our country illegally. You come into our country and then you commit crimes. And I don't care if misdemeanors, felonies, whatever. And then to sit here and try to jury rig the system. So, this crime is okay. This one's okay, no problem here, because we're going to make what was a felony now a misdemeanor. And by the way, and we don't have to tell the federal government about it so that you can be deported. I will cut straight to the chase. Have we lost our ever-loving minds? How about Americans? How about the safety of Americans? How about the pocketbook of Americans, hardworking people that have been there from day one, whose families at some point in time in history came into this country legally? And all of that, we're going to just throw that out the window, and that has no measurement anymore. And to me, I'm sorry, it's just unacceptable. The road is very clear for me. I'm not confused on this issue whatsoever. And how the state of California has found it necessary to come out with this SB 54, the so-called values. Are you kidding?
Okay.
What is America about?
So I completely agree with you that there's no point to citizenship if there isn't a very well-regulated agenda and basically a set of rules about what that citizenship means. How does SB 54 undermine that? You've said have we lost our ever-loving minds, and that this undermines citizenship. How does it do that specifically?
No, I'm a little surprised at your question. How does it do it? It completely dissolves what has otherwise been in the history of this nation a procedure that was adopted and followed, and throws it out the window and decides, oh no, this is no longer applicable. If you're illegally here, well, that's okay. If you're illegally here, but you only commit misdemeanors, oh, that's okay. And you know what? That's not America. It's not the America I've known.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Preparing for this show was very odd for me because you almost, as you're reading SB 54, you almost think this can't be right. You know, there must have been a typo here. Are we really saying that if somebody is arrested for a crime and they're a non-citizen, that our immigration agencies are now disallowed from doing their jobs? And I put myself as a well-traveled individual. I've gone, in my movie career, I've been able to go to lots of different places, and I feel very grateful. You know, I've been able to go to Germany. I spent 2 years in Argentina. I've been to Mexico, a ton of different countries and places. And I could never imagine going to Germany, for example, hanging out with my friends, I don't know, getting in a bar fight, breaking a bottle against the countertop, and then, I don't know, roughing up some German, and then not having the German immigration authorities come in and say, all right, pal, time to go.
It wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't happen. And also the other thing that seems so strange to me as I'm reading through the counter arguments, because I want to give in this show everybody a forum to speak. And I give so much of a benefit of the doubt to my fellow citizens. I don't want to go out there and just be a knee-jerk person that says, oh, well, you know, the Democrats, they're just trying to get votes, or they just hate America or whatever. I don't want to be that guy. So I try and filter through all of the knee-jerk, oh, anybody that doesn't like this is racist blog posts. But I'm really struggling to find, beyond the typical bleeding heart liberal response of, oh, well, it's so hard in Mexico or so hard in Honduras that we should have as many people as we can come here. You know, besides the flowery bleeding heart liberal responses that we all kind of somewhat agree with, I haven't found really a good reason behind this SB, and that kind of worries me. It kind of worries me because it makes me think, what is the advantage of being a citizen? Why are these people studying so hard to become citizens if now it's preferential treatment towards the other? So you as a retired officer, what do you see are the biggest problems coming down the pike with this SB? And how is it relative to our city situation right now?
Well, obviously by the fact that I have taken a position to bring this issue forward here at the city, I feel very passionate about the matter. I consider it something that is incredibly important for the safety of American citizens, for the future generations of our country. And, you know, I got to tell you, you know, some people will call me a dinosaur. It's okay. I've been around a day or two.
Hey, the dinosaurs are cool. I saw
didn't
Jurassic
just
Park.
fall off the turnip truck. But I got to tell you something. You play patty cake with criminal conduct, and all I can tell you is you've lost your ever-loving mind. Do you have any idea what is going to happen to our good citizens out here, and what is happening to our good citizens out here? I took the time back in about 1996, and out of just a quirk of circumstances, I knew this couple, and their son wanted to become a law enforcement officer so bad. And I had known them for a number of years, and they were telling me how their son just couldn't get a high enough oral. And I said, you know what, I had not met the son. And anyway, we made an agreement. I said, you have your son contact me, I'll talk to him. And my purpose being is because I don't support or really work hard to support anybody to get into law enforcement if I don't feel that they really are a good, squared-away individual that will do a responsible job as a police officer. Well, I met this young man. He came to my house, and I talked to him on 2 separate occasions on Saturdays for a total of about 4 hours, and we talked about taking the oral and what you need to do and so on and so forth, and I did my very, very best to support this young man. By the way, his name was David March, and you might recall, by the way, he did make it. He got a 99 on his next oral.
All right.
And his mom and dad could not thank me enough for having given their son the dream that he wanted to fulfill as a law enforcement officer. And he became an LA County Sheriff living here in Santa Clarita. And what happened in 2002, April 29th? An illegal, 4 times deported, a drug trafficker, a gang member, killed him. I have no patience for this. I don't give any quarter to this behavior. I went to Washington, D.C. along with my wife on 2 separate occasions and worked with White House staff. And I will openly tell you it did not result in anything but getting that illegal back in America as he fled to Mexico. And ultimately it took 4 years to get him back into this country with a worked out detail that, oh yes, he will not face the death penalty. Although he certainly did that to this David March. I use that just as an example. It happens on and on and on again, and we sit here and play patty cake with this behavior. And I submit to you, the American people, and particularly the people of California, have you lost your ever-loving minds? Where do we not put the line in the sand and say that we are a country of laws? We follow the law. We don't circumvent, we don't mess with it. And I'm for protecting Americans. And I want to put a real emphasis on this. Did I make myself clear? Americans.
All right. Well, I think that's a good way to end our first segment there. I don't really feel like following that up.
I try not to leave too much confusion.
All right. Bob Keller, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. If you're not watching on Facebook, get on Facebook. This is Problem Solver Politics.
The Santa Clarita Valley Food Pantry is celebrating its 30th anniversary of providing supplemental food to our neighbors in need. Help us help those less fortunate right here in the SCV with a monetary or food donation. For information on conducting a food drive or becoming a volunteer, visit scvfoodpantry.org or call the SCV Food Pantry at 255-9078 because no child in the Santa Clarita Valley should go to bed hungry.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
Money! 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 Money. You gotta have it. When you need it, what do? If you don't have a rich uncle, call Lending Tree. With us, hundreds of banks compete for your business, so you'll get loans with competitive interest rates, and in some cases, with no closing costs. So here's the deal. If you need money, call us. Do you want to refinance your current loan? Are you 62 or older and interested in a reverse mortgage? Then call Lending Tree now. 800-470-1378. 800-470-1378. We've closed over $250 billion in loans. We know what we're doing and can help you. Call right now for a free quote. 800-470-1378. 800-470-1378. 800-470-1378. That's 800-470-1378. NMLS number 1136.
The anticipation of having a baby brings much excitement and hundreds of decisions. When choosing where to have your baby, choose the best. Providence St. Joseph Medical Center. The new Women's Pavilion combines expertly trained medical staff with luxurious labor and delivery suites and the area's most advanced neonatal intensive care unit. You and your new baby will get the best start possible. For more information and a tour, call 1-888-HEALING. The road to healing leads to Providence.
KHTS, your hometown station.
Cool bumper. I almost want to just let it keep going. It disincentivizes speaking, that bumper. Thank you, Kyle Jellings. All right. Welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. Thank you, Councilman Bob Keller. Right now, we have another guest on the show who is who is going to represent an, I wouldn't want to say opposing, that's too combative of a word, but let's just say an alternative viewpoint to SB 54 that seems to be, from my personal explorations, consistent with a lot of people who would self-identify as Democrats or liberals or leftists, however you want to say it. His name is Andrew Taban. All right, so everybody on Facebook, welcome Andrew Taban. And if you're not on Facebook, you got to check it out because it is kind of cool to see what these people look like. And
we're not scary.
Yeah, we're not scary. So, really fast, just tell us a little bit about yourself, Andrew.
Wow, okay. Well, I am a college student. I was originally the president and founder of the Santa Clarita Valley Young Democrats, and I am a Democrat, and I am just, I guess, a local advocate in Santa Clarita, who you and I talked a little about it before. A while ago, I ran for school board, and I think I'm just a person who cares about the community and some issues.
So you threw your hat into the ring, and now all of a sudden the tempest has swallowed you up.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And he is now an official active party in local politics. So,
yeah.
Okay, you in our pre-show speaking, Andrew self-identified as a bleeding heart liberal, and I have a lot of reservations about this SB 54. Not only am I generally dubious of a lot of the stuff coming out of Sacramento, I'm very dubious of centralization of power. My family escaped the USSR, and my grandfather specifically escaped the Nazis in Poland during Blitzkrieg, right? So anything that centralizes power, I'm generally dubious of. And also, what makes our country great is the idea that the majority rules, but the minority has rights. And I am fearful of a system in which the minority rules and the majority walks around on eggshells. So SB 54, in my research, seems to be something that almost gives preferential treatment to non-U.S. citizens in many regards. And to me, it has many pernicious effects in the sense that by not putting the fear of law enforcement in non-citizens' eyes, to me it seems like, or minds, it seems like we are disincentivizing our politicians from fixing the immigration program, which is broken and stinks. I literally just today on Sunday was at a young women's awards ceremony at my church where we were giving these awards of accomplishment to these young women. It was beautiful. And then this one girl named, let's just say her name was Rosa. All right, that's a pretty common, beautiful Latina name. Rosa gets up and her parents couldn't be there to accept this award with her, similar to the Eagle Scout Award with Boy Scouts. It was a female award for girls. And she couldn't have her parents there because they're in Honduras. The immigration system somehow has, prevented them from being able to be here and her being able to be there. And so she's with her uncle here. And they gave this beautiful message saying how proud they were of their daughter for receiving this award. All of us are in tears because we know this is hard for her, but she's worked so hard to get it. And my heart breaks knowing that our system is so broken that, this Rosa girl can't be with her family to receive this great accomplishment award. So SB 54, to me, only disincentivizes more a broken system because now we're just saying, oh, you're not even allowed to send them home. So I know that human beings sometimes can be emotional in their research. They can have a confirmation bias. So I brought you on the show here now to try and explain to me and our listeners, hopefully, where is SB 54 coming from? I don't want to think that Mr. Leon was just trying to throw a monkey wrench. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. What is that benefit?
Okay. Well, I can't speak on behalf of Mr. De Leon.
Yes.
I really wish I could. So obviously I don't come from Sacramento and I can't speak on behalf of them, but what I can give you is my assumption, coming from recently when I spoke with residents of Canyon Country at the Canyon Country Advisory Council, is I think, we live in California and we have a supermajority of Democrats. And
that's kind of freaky. Keep going.
Whether you agree or disagree, but And, I think because a lot of people say this gives people or undocumented immigrants a more favorable view in the state than citizens in the U.S. or in California. And what I think this is giving people is because, I don't know if you've read the full bill. I personally have not read every page to page. It's 9 pages.
Look, pages 2 through 7 are unintelligible. Yeah. The first 3 paragraphs say everything you need.
So we kind of went over the majority of it at CCAC, and what it is basically stating, viewpoints, I mean, it's always up to interpretation, is the way we're seeing it is when you are going to jail or when you are going to be calling the police or something, is that the first priority of the police is not going to be, are you documented or are you undocumented? It's going to be, let's focus on the crime. And it's not saying that, because a lot of people that I've heard from, and at the Canyon Country Advisory Committee, for example, was someone even said, if I'm going to go to jail for getting a DUI, so should an undocumented citizen. Well, they're going to go to jail for getting a DUI. I mean, anybody would. But they would also get deported. There are 31 crimes that you will go be sent or deported. Also, a warrant, a felony warrant that you would be sent.
Okay, but isn't that a good thing though?
That is a good thing. I mean,
I was about to say, if I went to Germany and I got in that bar fight, like I was talking about with Bob Keller, if I got in a bar fight, broke a bottle, and stabbed a German with it, I would hope that besides picking me up for stabbing the German, they probably say, all right, now it's also time to go home.
Yeah, so it's not that, these people are immune to any laws, and yes, we do have a broken immigration system. I think everyone could agree to that. I mean, I know when I met with Steve Knight, and I know Steve Knight has even done town halls, he said the immigration system is broken, and I don't think this is a way out of it. I do think that we do need to fix it. I don't think this is a perfect way, and I do think because California is a super majority, I think this is maybe possibly an attempt of trying to fix it. I do also think, though, that deporting people is not always going to be an answer. Now, is blanket amnesty an answer? I'm not sure either, but this is also a federal issue, and what I think this bill is also saying is that immigration is not a state issue. It is the federal government's issue, and I mean, it isn't supposed to be the responsibility of local police to be doing the job of ICE. And I think that's what the state is saying.
Well, yeah, but ICE was also built to be a supplemental federal organization that relied upon tips from local law enforcement. So if we're prohibiting local law enforcement from notifying, I mean, SB 54 literally says in its wording, this bill prohibits local law enforcement from notifying ICE of the immigration status of criminals.
Unless there's 31, yeah. And
what's strange is, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to push back on that a little bit because I read this bill and it doesn't specify, because, for example, that would make sense to me. If they were going to say, look, our immigration system is broken, if some guy gets busted for loitering, we're not going to throw away some dad that's feeding his family of 4 kids here, home just for loitering. If he gets in a bar fight, yes, okay, but loitering, that's a lower crime, fine, and we're going to delineate what is a major crime and what's not. No, it literally just says they can't notify these people, and I guess here's my question for you as a self-described liberal. What does this help? I can see a million ways that it goes bad and hinders, okay? I always want to give a benefit of the doubt to the people that create these laws, that it's not just some ideological thing, and it's not some, pernicious thing. So I can see a million ways where practically and ideologically and morally this is wrong. Okay. Tell me how you think it is right.
Because I think it sends a message, not only as the state of California, but I'm going to state on a local level, because I know the city council is going to be taking it up as a vote, is we are not an anti-immigration state. And a lot of people also tend to just assume immigrants or undocumented immigrants are these bad people, and whether it just be because this election has made things a little bit more hostile in the country and made people a little more tense. And for example, you might be a little bit on the opposing side of me, I can still have a conversation with you. And I think that's what people need to do a little more often. I come from like a pure Republican household. I'm actually the only Democrat. So,
and your parents are Armenian, and that's got to be tough.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Middle
fun.
Eastern dads, man, they're not notorious for being like, sure, son.
Yeah, so
I'll go 50-50 with you on this.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Dinner is fun. Like Thanksgiving dinner is a lot of fun. But I think it, and I'm going to say it again on like a local level because I don't go up to Sacramento. Is for Santa Clarita, for example, to take a stance against SB 54, one, LA County, which is what we're part of, has already said they supported SB 54. So our vote really is not going to mean much. But also, what does it change if we say we are an anti-SB 54 city? It's saying that we are not okay with people who are here. They have been here before or after this law was created. And realistically, is it going to change anything?
Okay, so this is my biggest problem with all the political conversation right now is, okay, so you just said that, well, it sends a message that we're pro-immigrant, is basically the soundbite, right? That which inherently also says that if you don't like this bill, you must be anti-immigrant.
I don't think you're anti-immigrant either.
Okay, but I'm just saying in the general logical... the way the cookie crumbles, right?
Okay.
I don't think the way of proving we are pro-immigrant. Mm-hmm. I mean, my grandfather escaped the Nazis in Blitzkrieg. Mm-hmm. On my mother's side, we date all the way back to the Mayflower. I'm actually the closest living blood relative to Clara Barton, the founder of the American Red Cross, right? Mm-hmm. So on this side of my family, I got a rich American history. On this side of my family, we are almost fresh off the boat, okay? I have family that literally came over escaping Fidel Castro in the Cuban side of my family. So I don't think the way of sending a message that you're pro-immigration is by allowing immigrant criminals to stay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand your viewpoint, yeah. Yes, but also, realistically, okay, my question now to you is, what would you do then?
I would say if you're a criminal and you get arrested for a crime, pretty much regardless, because in California it's kind of hard to get caught. There's so many people, and they're always talking about understaffing. All right, is I would say if you're a criminal and you get busted, you gotta go. Once again, I just allude to this idea that when I go to a foreign country, like when I went to Argentina, I had my visa. Yeah. And I was there for 2 years, and I could never don't want to say in a million years, that's a stupid analogy, but I would never think that if I were to just engage in violence or drug trafficking or engage in even minor crimes of contraband or counterfeiting or whatever, I would never think if I were arrested that I weren't going home.
Yeah.
Like, I would just literally think that unless I was there to stand trial for murder because they were going to execute me because it was part of their death penalty, I'd just be thinking, oh, I'm going home. I got caught, and now I'm going to face it in both ends.
Yeah.
Because the Americans are going to get ticked at me, too, because I represented them poorly, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I do not see what the benefits of this are. I see how in previous law, predating SB 54, it was worthwhile to tell witnesses of crimes that are illegal immigrants, look, we won't deport you for coming forward and giving us details. But that predates SB 54, and there's a lot of disinformation out there saying that, oh, do you think somebody should be sent home just because they're a witness to a crime? No, I don't think that, and the law predates that. I just don't see where it's coming from. So I guess I'll give you the last 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, as the best young Democrat we got in the Valley, you know what I'm saying? Well, go ahead. You heard it here first. What would you say in one sentence is the best part of SB 54?
I think one of the best part about SB 54, and because like we I guess talked about in Bleeding Heart Liberal, is one of the things, and again, I'm just an emotional person in general, is I think we need to tend to remember that most of the people who come here who are immigrants or undocumented immigrants, including my family who did come here as documented immigrants, though, are a lot of people who come here to live the American dream. And most of these people are not criminals. And SB 54, you do get sent back or reported to ICE if you are a criminal. And a majority of people do come here to fulfill the American dream and come here to live successful lives and come to America to to live out and provide for their families. And I think we need to stop portraying people as criminals. And most people do come to the States because it is America, and America is an ideology, and that's why people come here.
Okay, excellent. This is Andrew Taban. Stay tuned. We got Cameron Smythe coming up next on Problem Solver Politics.
Every year, thousands of local children, teens, and adults receive treatment at the Child and Family Center for depression, anger, anxiety, abuse, thoughts of suicide, and drug and alcohol addictions. Our professional staff provides outpatient services at office locations, in the home, the community, and on many elementary, junior, and high school campuses throughout our valley. If you need help, contact Child and Family Center at 259-9439 or childfamilycenter.org. Improving lives, one family at a time.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Start your finish at College of the Canyons with over 700 low-cost summer classes. They have quick 5- and 8-week on-campus sessions. Don't have time to come to class? Online class options make it convenient for you to take classes on your own computer. Incoming high school juniors and seniors, you can take classes too. Take advantage of convenient summer sessions beginning June 4th, June 11th, June 18th, and July 9th. Visit canyons.edu/class schedule now.
Do you like to rock across Africa?
Then the wait is over.
Africa Rocks! Africa's Greatest Hits is now available at the San Diego Zoo! And who could forget 99 red baboons?
Or the African crested porcupine smash hit, I Got Quills to Pay the Bills! Hey, don't get too close!
And the hits keep on coming!
Africa Rocks has all your favorites from 6 different African habitats.
Hungry like a leopard.
Ibex is back.
Harder, better, Fossa stronger.
And a new track from Kendrick Lamar.
Now, Larry.
Yes, Chuck?
A collection of this magnitude, I'd fly to Africa.
Well, don't pack your bags, friend. Africa Rocks is only available right here at the San Diego Zoo.
Wow, that really does rock.
No, it Africa Rocks.
Welcome to Africa Rocks. Experience 6 different African habitats, including our first ever aquatic enclosure with African penguins, only at the San Diego Zoo.
One more day, one more time.
We've been singing their songs for decades, and now Time in Rio brings their musical magic to the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center on Saturday, June 30th.
What a beautiful mess I'm in. Spending all my time.
KHTS is proud to present Diamond Rio, 6-time Country Vocal Group of the Year, 23 top 10 hits. Experience Grammy Award winners Diamond Rio like you've never seen them before, right here in our hometown at the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center.
Imagine that love lasts forever. Imagine
Country legends Diamond Rio, and featuring our one and only local singing sensation, Savannah Burrows. Savannah Burrows and Diamond Rio, together at the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center, Saturday, June 30th.
what a beautiful mess, what a beautiful
Tickets are going fast. Visit canyonspac.com to purchase yours. canyonspac.com for Diamond Rio.
If you are at least 55 years of age and have a torn or irreparable rotator cuff, you may be eligible for a no-cost clinical trial at Southern California's Orthopedic Institute's Valencia Clinic. Call 818-901-6600 extension 1525 or visit rotatorcuffstudy.com to learn about a study of an investigational shoulder implant. Call 818-901-6600 extension 1525 or visit rotatorcuffstudy.com. Sponsored by Microair Surgical Instruments.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardon Ellis, and we are here in the studio with Cameron Smythe.
It's good to be back.
Councilman at large All right. Besides being well-reasoned and politically savvy, he's incredibly attractive and is wearing this cool Santa Clarita hat repping his hometown. So check us out on Facebook Live and you'll see not only his shiny smile, but his cool hat. And
that's why I ran, so I could get a hat. That's all. I thought about resigning after I was able to, get that, get the hat. And I'm like, that's what else do I need?
Once you got the
step
threads,
down,
you're like, no more.
Yep, gonna step down.
All right, so I never really had a chance at the top of this hour because we have so many cool guests on the show. I usually have a longer monologue, kind of talk about some local news, and discuss some of our cool political street art. This week, I was supposed to talk about this cool one right here that says, "I love the way Candace Owen thinks," in homage to the infamous tweet by Kanye that caused a storm and is the gift that keeps on giving in the pop culture of politics this week. But we're actually going to skip that. And the only reason I mention it is because I got to make one for City Hall that says, "I like the way Cameron Smythe thinks." You know what I'm saying? Because he's a pretty well-reasoned individual.
I appreciate that. Feel free to, you can walk around with me, I can just carry that in front of me as I walk into council chambers and everything.
All right. Just
that'd
cool
be my entourage. I'm in.
All right. Sweet. No
This is getting better by better. This is how you do it. You compliment all your guests, it's you say this to all the boys probably. So, I have, but I'll believe it anyways. I'm insecure enough that I will believe everything you say.
Dude, it's all good, man. It's all good. So, all right. So SB 54, the reason I invited him on the show was because, and by the way, thank you for coming. Few are the politicians that have the guts to do it. Oftentimes they don't view there as being an upside to speaking on the airwaves about it. So, credit where credit is due to Cameron Smythe. I am curious. I invited you on the show because in our pre-show speech, you just seem so well-reasoned and in the know because of your experience in both Sacramento and local politics. Just like I asked Andrew Taban, in a nutshell, I see a million ways how this could go wrong and could be pernicious at worst, detrimental at best. What? Just question mark on SB 54. What are your thoughts? What do we do about it? How is it going to affect us? Just give me your thoughts.
Sure. And I think I had asked once Councilman Keller brought it forth in early April. I had asked the city staff before we decided to put anything on the agenda to compile a report and to provide that to the council before the next meeting, so we had some information before we would decide whether or not to put it on the agenda, because the initial movement from local governments was really coming from cities with their own police department, and you can see their concern because now you have a federal law, but then you have the state telling them no. Despite having your own police department, they can no longer coordinate with federal immigration officials, and I can see where that is for cities that have their own PD. That is, has a direct impact on how they are going to police their cities. Santa Clarita is different in that we contract our services with LA County Sheriff, and so the sheriff is not going to have a policy for Santa Clarita, a separate policy for the Antelope Valley, a separate policy for unincorporated counties. I mean, LA County Sheriff's contract with over 40 cities in the county, so they're going to have one policy. So the question is, in spite of that, so in light of that, what is it that we can do at the city? What does SB 54 do? How can we be involved? What's the impact to Santa Clarita? And so that's where we fell on agendizing, adding our name to the litigation efforts when the time is right in support of those other cities that are filing, that are suing, the state on SB 54.
Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, for those of you that are just joining us, SB 54, in a soundbite, in a sentence, is a relatively new law that says if cops pick up bad guys that are non-U.S. citizens, they're not allowed to report them to the governing bodies that would deport them. So you're not allowed to deport bad guys
and
anymore.
Again, but it's important to say not every crime, right? There is a prescribed list of crimes that that are now no longer able to notify federal immigration officials. So some crimes still. So if there's a murder, a rape, still. High level
isn't this
crimes.
all convoluted anyway because it gets all pled down and, and these lists are all gray anyway and it basically just makes it so, I mean, half these people that are getting out on the old SB 47 rules and stuff like that were taken in for beating somebody to a pulp, and then on the paper it says, oh, I got busted for driving without a license.
Right. No, and I think that's and I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but it's kind of led to why I felt we should have the discussion, because the truth is, even if SB 54 is repealed, it has no practical impact on Santa Clarita because we, again, are under the jurisdiction of the LA County Sheriffs. So unless the sheriffs change their policy, then we are not, the SB 54, the repeal of it wouldn't impact Santa Clarita because of that, but there are bigger issues at play. And what
are those?
As I learned from my time in the legislature, there are those in Sacramento that do a very good job at having a very long game.
So that's your euphemistic way of saying Democrats, right?
Most.
The supermajority that rules the USSR of California.
So what I believe is you're going to see is in maybe the next legislative session, you will see a bill that piggybacks on SB 54 and will add a new list of crimes that cannot be reported to immigration officials. And you are going to continue to see that incremental erosion of local government's control on how they're able to police their own communities. And I think so that is, I think, the long game is to ultimately get to the Prop 47, Prop 57 list and have it mirror with those who don't have proper documentation. And I think that becomes that adds very serious crimes to those who can't be where immigration.
But what's who does this benefit? Because, for example, I remember you and I spoke last week about that poor woman who was attacked by the homeless person underneath the overpass on the bike trail.
Right.
And, at first it garnered a conversation about, how do we address homelessness? And, which is good. We need to have that conversation. But then when you dig deeper, you find out this person was a triple deportee not deportee, sorry,
Prop
a triple
47.
release.
Right,
yeah.
Prop 47.
A triple release because of Prop 47.
Right.
So when this guy should have been in jail, he's out attacking. And good thing there was a private citizen who is ex-law enforcement with enough guts to save this woman, because if the news reports are correct, he came upon her when he was choking her out on the bike trail.
He came from behind her and put a belt around her neck.
Okay.
And
even
again,
worse.
and this was someone from Orange County who had matriculated their way, been in and out of the system on Prop 47, and then worked their way to Santa Clarita when they're able to.
So what is the benefit to our Democratic supermajority of making it so that SB 54Es are getting off the hook just as easily as SB 47Es? Is it just to get a massive voting block? Is it what is the benefit?
Right, and I believe you kind of have to put yourself in the position of some of these legislators, and I believe Senator De Leon, whom I came into the legislature with, has openly said his family are undocumented. His parents were undocumented. His relatives were undocumented.
Yeah, but we all know that.
So I think the perception of people who are not in this country legally. You're viewing it through different prisms.
Yeah, but is that how we prove to the Latino community? Because let's face it, this is an argument about the Latino community.
Sure.
Not about the Filipino, not about the Western European immigrants, or even the Middle Eastern ones. This is an argument about the Latino community.
Although here in Santa Clarita, maybe, but if you go to Glendale, right, you're going to have Armenian community, which is very obviously a super high population.
Yeah, but in sheer numbers, we don't have as huge a problem with Armenian illegal immigration as we do.
No, understood. Yeah. But I just it isn't just, but certainly it isn't just Hispanic. But it is an interesting dynamic because the many people who are victimized by these guys are in their same community.
Exactly.
And it's been interesting to see the correspondence that I've received since we agendized this. And there's been a significant number of those who have identified themselves as people who were legal immigrants, who have come from Latin America, from Mexico, and are very much in support of the city getting involved to opt out of and support.
I mean, even if there's no practicality to it, I think I don't like political theater if it's a waste of time, but I do oftentimes think that it is important to send a message, even if you are the super minority of cities in a place like California.
And your point is exactly right. And it, I think what you're seeing with cities is that this may be the city's Waterloo, if you will, that cities are finally saying, you know what, Sacramento, we're done with this control, because it goes well beyond this policing. I mean, it's certainly that's what people will see with public safety, with AB 109 and Prop 47, Prop 57, but it goes much deeper than that. Sacramento, the legislature is trying to dictate land use now and trying to take land use decisions away from local jurisdictions.
Like what's one you're dealing with now?
Well, so. A great example is if people are probably seeing all the improvement, the changes to the median on Orchard Village and Lyons Avenue. Well, that was mandated because the state passed legislation saying that you could no longer have grass on medians, and if you do, you are going to be fined at an exorbitant rate. So the cities all across are changing their medians, and for us to improve the median there, it's a $4 million project,
which exceeds the Parks and Rec budget per year.
No. But it's still it's an unfunded. You always hear the unfunded mandate. So all of a sudden, okay, we got to take $4 million out of our capital improvement budget to fund this, and we're not getting anything back from.
So instead of building a cool new skate park, we're building
or road improvements, whatever. We have to comply with state law. So I think. A lot of cities are finally just saying, you know what, this is absurd. Another good example is there's a whole bunch in Canyon Country. I think it's Canyon View Estates. It's a manufactured home, and they have a whole bunch of solar panels now that people see, and we've gotten a ton of complaints about that. But manufactured homes are governed by the state, and their property is governed by the state. So the landowner, he just cut a deal with the solar company and got approval from the State Department of Housing, and threw up all these solar panels that without any notification of the city, to the city, and without any improvements or planning. And all of a sudden, we're driving by and seeing all these solar panels, and our phones are blowing up, and our social media is blowing up about why the city approve all these horrific solar panels. Well, we didn't, and we didn't even know about it because it was a state project. So to me, this is a discussion that it goes beyond just SB 54, and it's about local control.
All right, excellent. To hear more about what Cameron Smythe has to say, which I want to, and unfortunately can't because we're going to hard out here in a second, check him out on Facebook and go to hometownstation.com. This is Problem Solver Politics. I was your host, Cardon Ellis. Like us, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.